show you exactly how this works. No longer do you have to beg for reviews. No longer do you have to, try to get the attention of these top reviewers. Everybody's going to want you on their Amazon sales page leaving reviews. Okay, so here is how the tool works. You don't have to worry about writer's block. We tell you exactly, and we've studied the very best reviewers. This is exactly how they're writing their reviews, and we're going to show you a ninja trick as well, how you're going to be able to get clicks directly from your review. Okay, so check it out. On step 1, you want to have a good title, a compelling title for your review. The instructions are at the bottom of your screen here, as you'll notice. Okay, so it says enter a 3 to 4 word title of the form, adjective plus genre of the book. So, I put a thrilling underdog adventure. You know what? Let me change that to a thrilling fantasy fiction adventure. Does that make sense? I want to insert the genre. You could say spicy historical romance, whatever it is. It's kind of like a sales letter headline, if that makes sense. So we've reverse engineered what the top 500 reviewers worldwide are doing, and this is it. We'll keep you on the edge of your seat. I'm going to put an exclamation mark there. Now, we've put another ninja trick in here as well. We actually have created a couple of swipe files for you. So if you click on more options at the top, you can select 25 persuasive openers. Let's click that. We have a swipe file, so you can, if you're stumped for word ideas, you can use that. We also have one that says 100 plus action verbs list that is in there as well. Okay, so you can use that, and that will help you to get started. Does that make sense? So feel free to leverage that at any time. Let's go to step 2. Okay, so step 2 says insert your attention-grabbing book quote below. Okay, you can see the words in there from step 1. You can use this actually throughout any of the steps. Let me close that. Okay, insert an attention-grabbing book quote. So I went and pulled a quote from the book. The book that I'm reviewing, by the way, is The Lightning Thief by Percy Jackson. I read that book a few months ago. Sorry, it features Percy Jackson. It's by Rick Riordan. So here's a quote by Percy Jackson. It says, "If my life is going to mean anything, I have to live it myself." I really like that quote. It reminds me of the Uncle Ben quote, "With great power comes great responsibility," right? You see that down there. So insert your favorite quote. Make it an intriguing one, if that makes sense, right? Okay, step 3. Insert the setting description. So I put that The Lightning Thief takes place it places Greek mythology in a modern setting, and it's a hilarious fantasy adventure featuring 12-year-old Percy Jackson, who discovers he's the son of a mortal woman and the Greek mythical figure Poseidon. Does that make sense? Okay, so now we've established the setting of the book, right? Let's move to next. Okay, describe the main character. So Percy Jackson is a 12-year-old boy with dyslexia and ADHD. And so on. I go on to describe Percy. He's quite an interesting character. There's a lot of contrast with him, which makes him interesting. He has a lot of struggle. He's coming out of some difficult situations, just starting out. So that makes him likable. It makes it easy to identify with him. But he's also complicated, and you don't really envy him, right? So he makes for the perfect hero, okay? So you want to make it a short description. Include the character's name, include some insightful detail about the personality. Don't give too much away, right? Because people who are reading this haven't read the book. Make sense? Okay, cool. Now, this is optional, but it's recommended. The next step is to insert information, a description about the second main character. And so, in this area, I added the wrong information here. Hang on one sec. Okay, there we go. I fixed that. I have my entire review in a little notepad here just to make it a little quicker to show you how this works. Typically, you'd be coming up with this just by reading the directions. You might have the book handy so you can get some reminders about the details of the book. So here we are. So Percy has one steadfast friend. It's Grover Underwood, and so on and so forth. You'll notice, if you've read the book, then you'll notice that I don't actually reveal everything about Grover. There's a big secret about Grover's identity. I just kind of make it intriguing, right? So you don't want to give too much away because, again, the people reading this haven't read the actual book. All right, cool. Next, the plot summary. What is the plot summary? Okay, so you'll notice once again that even though I gave information about the plot, I tried to keep it intriguing. I tried to not give too much detail, right? So I love that Percy is the unwitting, then reluctant hero, and so on and so forth. I really enjoyed this book, so I kind of went on and on. I haven't said in here, I won't give the plot away, but suffice to say, his academic struggles and even apparent stubbornness are what save him in the end. And the plot was simple enough for tweens to follow, but it did have a number of plot twists that I didn't see coming, even as a grown reader of this book. So this is it's a fantastic book. I really enjoyed giving this review, although until having this tool, I'll tell you that there's no way I would have given a review that was anywhere this detailed. Okay? All right, so who is the ideal reader for this book? So you kind of want to give some examples. That you could say, for example, if you're into, and then you put the name of the genre. Or you could say if you enjoy stories about, or you could say if you're tired of reading the same old stories about. You know, the instructions will always be down here at the bottom of the window. Okay, so the way I phrased it is that this is a great book for tweens and teens, but honestly, as a grown up fantasy fiction fan, I couldn't put this down for 2 days. So if you like fantasy fiction of any kind, you'll definitely get lots of enjoyment out of this book series. Alright, so step 8 says that this is the similar audience comparison technique. So what famous book or author does the story remind you of? And so I said if you like J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings series, C.S. Lewis's Narnia series, mythology in general, or fantasy fiction of any kind, I could even put in J.K. Rowling's oh, there is. Actually have it in there already. It's also a bit similar to J.K. Rowling, the Harry Potter series style of storytelling, right? So that really gives, if people like those books already, they're sold. So I'm doing a lot of the selling for the author here. Okay, let's skip to the next step. Step 9 says insert your Amazon product link or other book titles by author. This is optional, but you have the option to say to recommend some other book. So you can say, you know, before you read this book, you may want to check out. So maybe you put the previous book in the series, or you could link to, if you happen to have a book that's similar to the book that you're reviewing, you could recommend that. If you use that technique, do use it sparingly. You don't want to always recommend your own book, okay? But this is where you're able to put a link to your book from, and this will end up being on whatever Amazon sales page you review. So in this case, I'm reviewing a very popular book, Rick Riordan's Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. Therefore, this is going to drive traffic to whatever link I put in here, okay? So that's what I did on step 9. Let's go to step 10. So step 10 says describe one thing you change about the book. Again, this is optional, but I like to include it because it gives you more credence, more credibility if it shows that you're giving a balanced review. So here's what I said. If there's one thing I'd change about this book, it would be to make the battle between Percy and Ares a bit more detailed, and I'd give Ares a bit more credit considering his reputation in that fight. Okay, so again, it tells you something that happened, but it doesn't give any details so that it doesn't actually ruin it for someone who hasn't read the book. But that actually is something that I would change about the book. I didn't really like the way that the author handled that particular situation. Okay, step 11, you want to describe how the book looks on your mobile device for the benefit of the reader. For example, you could say, I have an iPad, or I have a Kindle, or I read this on my smartphone, and the formatting and layout is solid, it's excellent, right? I have an Android tablet, I read this on the Kindle app on my desktop, and it looks beautiful. You basically want to talk about the formatting because that's actually something that a lot of Kindle readers, a lot of Amazon readers pay attention to. And you can be really brief on that one, but just a little mention really helps the person reading the review. And here's the final step, okay? You want to actually boost your helpful votes on your reviews by giving a call to action. So at the end, here's the thing. A lot of people don't actually think to acknowledge a review as being helpful. So it doesn't hurt for you to ask. You could say, if you found this useful, let the community know, let other readers know by clicking yes on the helpful vote button, okay? And so that basically lets you get more helpful votes. It bumps your review up, gives it more visibility, right? That's the final step. At that point, all you need to do is click produce review, and you have your review ready to go.